Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Black Men Matter series on the male perspective. The podcast that's all about dispelling stereotypes and shining a light on the rich and varied experiences of Black men from all around the world. Each episode aims to broaden understanding and foster appreciation for their unique stories that often go unheard. Now, here is your host, Lana Reed, to introduce you to yet another remarkable Black man with an insightful perspective to share.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Male Perspective. I am your host, Lana Reed, and today, on this day, I have the pleasure of sitting down with a gentleman by the name of Jadarius Evans. He is a mental health researcher and national certified counselor, among other things, out here helping us get our mental health in the right place. And I am looking forward to spending some time with him today. But first and foremost, as I always do, sir, I say thank you for making time for me today. Time is a gift. Once we give it, we can't get it back. So I truly appreciate you setting aside this time to talk with little old me. With that, sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, before we get started, I truly believe in the village concept when it comes to us Black folks. And I want to take a moment to support, applaud, and clap for you because you just recently graduated from Clemson with the certified mental health counseling program. Did I get that right?
Yes, ma'am. Clinical mental health program.
Awesome. So I want to take a moment to applaud you. But that is not all of the letters behind your name. So I want to make sure everybody knows how awesome you are. So what other degrees do you have, sir?
Yes, ma'am. So I have my undergrad from Clemson as well. It's a master's, not a master's, but bachelor's in psychology, just a minor in sociology. Thank you. And then, like you just mentioned, in May, I got actually 2 degrees. So we have the Master's of Education and then the specialization with clinical mental health. Technically, it's 2 degrees, one specialization, and then the other is just a Master's of Education. The specialization is the one that helps me become a therapist. The other one's kind of educating me about the counseling program and like what counseling looks like.
Awesome. 2 degrees at one time. You still sane and it's doable, right? So everybody else knows it's doable.
Okay. It's doable.
It's doable. Okay. So there are very few Black people, especially Black men in the mental health field. So why did you decide to pursue that as a career path?
Yeah. I'll say this, actually in undergrad, when I started out, I was not on that track. I started out engineering, funny enough, and that kind of came from I'm gifted in science, math. I do those things back in high school. And honestly, back during that time, I never thought that was a path for me. I always had a passion for mental health. I always had a passion for doing things and helping people in that sense. I just didn't think I could necessarily do it. And honestly, my first semester in grad school, I had got hit with one of the biggest moments in my life. My grandfather passed from COVID, and then my best friend's grandfather passed from COVID, and then the whole, like all of COVID was happening in my first year of undergrad. And I took a moment and I was like, I'm not happy doing what I'm doing. I can do this and, go throughout this and make money. And that's what it was to me. I was like, oh, I do an engineering program. I go through it and I'll make money. And I actually had a really good professor. He emailed me and we talked. He was like, it doesn't seem like you have the heart for this, honestly. And I was like, I don't. He's like, go find what you want to do.
Awesome.
So that next semester, I switched to psychology, and I pretty much knew a lot of the foundational stuff, and I just from there continued and finished up early. I actually finished up my undergrad early because I came in with 60 credits. I came in with 60 credits from dual enrollment, which is like I don't know if that's normal in other states, but in South Carolina, we have dual enrollment, which is where you can get associate's degree in high school.
Right.
And you can graduate with your diploma and your associate's degree, and those applied. So I got to graduate a little early. I had a little bit of time, and I just went right into grad school at Clemson with their clinical mental health program. And I kind of continued to further develop my passion for mental health these past 2 years, if I'm being quite frank with you. When I came in, I honestly didn't know what to expect because I was so nervous. I was like, I don't know what this looks like for me because I just came from undergrad where I'm like, oh, this is all new. I had a plan and now I'm changing this plan, but now I'm like, I'm really about to become a therapist. I'm really about to become a counselor. I don't know what this looks like. And my program was very wonderful with taking care of us in terms of saying, you can't figure everyone else's stuff out until you figure your stuff out. So the first thing we got to do was actually get into therapy and talk about some of our things. It wasn't necessarily the deepest stuff that we got to talk about. We just talked about some things and getting the feel for it, how it may feel a little scary, how it may feel a little intimidating even for like the general population. Because at the time, yeah, we knew the background, we knew the stuff, but we never done it before. Some of us may have, but I I never did it before.
Never did
So
the work.
got in there, and from there I was just like, this is me, this is what I want to do. And from there, internships, practicums, learning more curriculum, learning modalities, I was like, this is for me. And here I am now, like ready to hop into the field even more and get a little deeper into research, advocacy, and actually doing therapeutic work.
Awesome. I am so proud of you. I am so proud of you.
Thank
Now,
you.
you have mentioned quite a few times and that you went to Clemson University.
Hmm.
Now, I was born in North Carolina, left when I was very young age. So
Hmm.
I'm very well aware of, have heard quite often of Clemson. And in the Black community, a lot of times we talk about HBCUs and PWIs. Clemson is definitely a PWI,
Hmm.
definitely a PWI. With that being said, your college experience and you mentioned your professor. Did you find it to be a very supportive space for you as a Black man?
uh, I say that I didn't get that support until graduate school. If I'm being honest. It was interesting because I came in with COVID, so it was already a disconnect.
Were
It
you
was
guys on
already
campus at the time or no?
yes. I'm trying to think when we got in. It was like September. So
Okay.
fall 2020, September 2020. So it was already a disconnect with professors because we were in dorm rooms on screens. So even trying to get
Oh,
like office hours, for instance,
no
that was
in-person
extremely
office
difficult.
hours.
So I didn't honestly get that support from my professors, but I will say this, I got the support from, honestly, she was like a second mom to me. I worked at Cooper Library, which is the library on campus, and I did it as a work study job.
Mhm.
And this lady supported me honestly throughout my 3 years there. I honestly got there and I was like, oh, this is only for money. And it became kind of a passion. I became like, oh, I love going to the library. I love going to help people find books. And her name's Lita Davis. But yeah, she's a phenomenal woman. She was honestly my main support in terms of a adult standpoint on campus through those 3 years.
Beautiful, yeah, because navigating that whole college experience
Hmm.
can, and like I said, Clemson is PWI, so and
Hmm.
it's so hard for us across the board to get brothers through the process. So you can't do that without support. So I'm so glad you had somebody. So how did the research stuff come about?
Yeah. That was interesting. So in undergrad, I'm gonna go back on what I said. I had a few professors. It wasn't support in terms of me as a Black man, but academically. I
Uh-huh.
found support academically just because of things I was doing, the interest that I had. But as a Black man, I don't think that really got identified until my graduate program. I didn't feel seen as a Black man until that time.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, it was like, okay, everybody's just doing the do. You come to class, do this. It wasn't necessarily, well, how are you doing? I want to check in with you until
Mm.
graduate school. Undergrad, I got seen a lot academically. And I grew a family and connection through some friends and colleagues that were of the same color as me. But research-wise, that became a development actually through an undergrad professor. It was in her interpersonal violence class. Is a sociology class that was on IPV and sexual violence, well, sexual assault at the time. And basically, I got in that class and I had a really big interest in working with that population, and I still do. That's actually the first population I work with. But through that class, I got really close with that professor and we started doing some work together. And I continued to do work. And she was my first publication. I got my first publication with
Mm.
her. So her name is Dr. Heather Ketry. But yeah, academically, she was a wonderful support to me. And she was honestly kind of one of the first reasons I got into research.
Mm.
Specifically pertaining to this research now, this came to be not in a normal research way. So last summer, in my graduate program, I can't remember what class, it might have been ethics, and I was sending an email to the American Counseling Association, and I was specifically advocating for more support for Black men and honestly Black people in general. but I think specifically black men and boys at the time. And I didn't expect a response from the American Counseling Association. I was just, they get a Clemson email and they're like, oh, okay, cool. But they responded and they're like, you know what, you're right. And from there, I got in contact with their editor and they were like, we want you to write a Counseling Today article specifically pertaining to this topic.
Okay.
And I did that, and it got published last November. And from there, one of the guys that I was in contact with, his name was Brian Banks. He was at ACA at the time, which is the American Counseling Association. He moved to NBCC, which is the National Board of Certified Counselors. He contacted me. He was like, "Hey, I moved from ACA to NBCC, and I saw your article got published. I want to chat with you right quick." And I said, "Okay." He was like, I am starting this new area in NBCC called PARC, which is Policy Advocacy Research and Counseling. And with this, we are planning to make research done by counselors, but for everyone. And I was like, it sounds incredible, but I am in my almost last semester of my counseling program. I'm gonna staff this with some faculty and get back with you. He's like, no, don't worry, just let me know what you're interested in and what you want to do. This research is yours, honestly. Like you get to create it. And I'm like,
Hmm.
man, like this is a very unique
Opportunity.
opportunity. Yeah. And I was telling my faculty and they're like, are you sure? Is that real? I'm like, yeah, it's real. So, with Brian and a few other faculty members, I ended up pitching the idea to do suicide risk with black men and male teens. At the time, it was black men and boys because I was piggybacking off the article, but bumped it up to male teens primarily for the cognitive piece in terms of being able to talk about suicide. So, male teens is 13 to 17. Um, but yeah, that's my passion for research has grown so much in this past year, and it's something that I really want to continue to do because I see how important it is at a systematic level. Let's put it like that. Stuff like NIH,
Mm.
those things have been wiped, and how important it is to have stuff to back up what we're saying, especially for our community and other communities in general. But with me, my identity as a black man, I can support my community. I can't really
Mhm.
speak for other communities, then people can do work for that. But me, I can do work for my community and I can
Okay.
support and back up those things. So I've really found the importance of research in this past year. And not to say that I didn't know how important it was. Back then, I wasn't the lead researcher. I was in the background kind of typing up things and transcribing things. So I was like, oh, this is kind of like I'm getting some good money from doing this, and this is really interesting. But now I'm like, man, like
Wow.
seeing how important this will be and how many people will see this and like, that's so awesome that people are actually being able to talk about something that's oftentimes leaves a heavy weight on your shoulders, but at the same time,
True.
people are able to develop it and change the narrative of it in a beautiful way. So being able to do research like this, I think is honestly a dream come true for me.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. Now, expound on us because we've talked about the research, but you haven't really given us the
Yeah.
whole details of Project H.E.A.R.T. So tell us how that all played out and what were the components of that?
We're still actually going right
Oh,
now.
you are.
Yes,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
actually recruiting right now. I'm almost done recruiting for my teams. I need two more people for the teams, and we should have those. And I actually just got off a meeting today with the site we're going to do for the men, and I'm actually going tomorrow with the Upstate Fatherhood Coalition to talk to them about recruiting for the men as well. But yeah, like. This is very active right now. This
Oh,
summer has been recruitment, basically, just trying to find those sites, going through churches, going to organizations, me being intentional with finding ways to support these men and these teens during this process because I want to make sure that they are protected in a sense of if they talk about these things, some things may come up. So,
mm-hmm.
yes, I'm a therapist, but this time I will be a researcher. My faculty, my team, they are also therapists, but they'll be researchers at the time. So, going and connecting with organizations like NAMI and
Mm-hmm.
988 and getting those resources and making sure that these guys are supported during this process, that's something I've been intentional about this summer as well. So, it's a bit of recruiting and also just honestly networking. I'll put it like that, it's
Mm-hmm.
networking.
Okay, okay. Now I read in the article I think that you're talking about, there was a photography element or something like
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Could you expound on
Mhm.
that so everybody knows what that's
Yes.
about?
So we are using PhotoVoice. PhotoVoice is a unique research methodology. If I'm being quite frank with you, I did not know until about it till last year. My professor, Dr. 𝗃𝗃 brought it up to me, and kind of back to the basis and foundation of the project. I was pitching an idea, and I was like, I don't want to do numbers. I don't want to do
The
something that's already
engineering
been done.
guy doesn't want to do
Yes.
numbers. Okay. All right.
I don't want to do numbers research. This topic needs to have some personal passion to it. And I was like, I want to do something creative. And she was like, JD, I do a unique research method. I don't know if you heard of it. It's called PhotoVoice. And we utilize pictures to tell stories and empower people. And also we use that to inform policy as well.
Mhm.
And I'm like, that sounds perfect. Like it sounds exactly what I was thinking of. I didn't know that was something we could do. So photo voice, like I said, involves participants, and I don't even like using the word participants. I say co-researchers because primarily this work is theirs. Yes, I
Mhm.
can transfer some things from it. I can honestly identify with it, but at the end of the day, these are their pictures and these are things that they are defining. So I like to say co-researchers instead of participants.
Mhm.
So with the co-researchers, they take these pictures with Polaroid cameras, disposable cameras, or even like digital pictures. We're just so happy using the Polaroid cameras, and with those pictures for they'll take pictures for a week, and it's going to be related to the topic we have, which is suicide risk within the community through their perspective
Mhm.
and what factors kind of further contribute to that. A lot of people ask me, what does a picture look like of that? I can't tell you, and that's the beauty of this.
Okay.
They get to define that, and
Awesome.
it's and I was the organization I was calling to is Call Me Mister, and those are kind of creating teachers. And we were having this great conversation earlier about how as a teacher, you look for this rubric. As a student, you look for this rubric. With this, there's no rubric.
Mhm.
You get to create the rubric because it's through your eyes and how you define it and how you want it to
Awesome.
look. So I think that's the beauty behind Photo Voice. We get these pictures and we come together as a group, and you get to choose one or two of those pictures, and you get to pull out the narratives, and we all come together as a group and talk, well, what do you see here? And everybody gets to
Mm.
pitch in, and maybe there's a group narrative that's formed, or maybe it's just single narratives from each person. But at the end of the day, we all have these narratives that we get to present and show to everyone with these pictures. And I think that's a beautiful thing that everybody's going to be able to see and also just hear these guys talk about from ages 13 to hopefully, I want to get someone who's 70s, but we'll see about that. Probably, honestly, we'll probably get somebody who's in their late 40s, early 50s. But I want to get a range of people. But at the end of the day,
Mhm.
it's really not about that. It's not about the range or the age. That's my numbers coming in. And my number, that's the
The engineering
numbers.
part.
Yes, that's the numbers coming in. But it's really about capturing the essence of the experience, which is what we're gonna do no matter what. So.
Okay. Awesome.
Mhm.
And the project will run for just for the summer or?
So I have a 1 year contract. My contract will
Okay.
be over on March 6th. My plan is to get the group done before the end of this month. Maybe, well, we'll put the middle of September. We'll put the middle of September. We're going to have those groups hopefully done by the middle of September. And that involves the first session, which is an hour. It's like an informational session, telling people how to ethically take pictures, specifically the teens and the men as well.
Mm.
Don't take pictures of people without their consent and all those good things. And also just helping them and guiding them what it looks like taking pictures. Not necessarily telling them this is what you need to take pictures of, but guiding them. What are some moments that you think of? What does it feel like right there? Take a picture of that. And then they have that week. It's time span to take those pictures. They have 40 exposures, so they get to take 40 pictures. And then we come back together after that week, hopefully, and we'll sit down for 3 hours and discuss those pictures.
Awesome, awesome. Now, I know normally when it comes to research, it ends up in some journal for somebody
Yep.
to read, but the photo element that you have, it seems like it could be a display for the
Yep.
community to see afterwards.
Mhm.
Would that be the plan?
Yes, that is. So a part of Photo Voice that's actually implemented in it is kind of the reflect and moving on piece.
Okay.
Um, it all kind of comes down to funding and also opportunity and
Mm.
availability. But the organizations I've talked to, I believe that we'll be able to do something. I really want to bring this home to the community level and be able to uplift these guys. So if we are able to celebrate them and celebrate what they've done, because they will need to celebrate this. This is
Mhm.
incredible that they're willing to get together, take these pictures, and then talk about it and uplift them. So, all with their consent, if we want to display these pictures and have an art gallery or something along those lines, it's not for me to define what they want to do. It's up to them. If they want to do that, they do that. But they come together as a group and kind of figure out what they want to do with these pictures. And that's also a beautiful thing. It's a lot of autonomy with this project. It's a lot of autonomy with this methodology. And that's what I really love about it. I'm here facilitating things, but at the end of the day, it's really them who's driving this. And I really like that about this.
Oh, there's going to be some beautiful outcomes for that. You
Mhm.
know, it's just, it's very imperative that Black men have an opportunity to get their mental health, have outlets for their mental health. So, you know, the creative elements of this, I think is just beautiful to incorporate.
Mhm.
So it's going to be interesting to see how that, I might
Yeah.
have to make a special trip down to South Carolina to see how that all pans out. So let me shift gears here a little bit because you mentioned something in this project that I want to
Mhm.
talk about. Is that there's an element of talking about suicide, addressing suicide. And
Mhm.
most of us have heard that Black male suicide is on the rise, unfortunately. Not everybody has Mr. Evans training on how to handle mental health crisis. Uh,
Mhm.
for the person, the loved one that might be around somebody and they feel like they're struggling with these particular issues, how would you suggest that they navigate that and kind of help their loved one through this process when it comes to suicidal thoughts?
Yeah. And I'll speak to this in a personal experience, like you said, the training. I've been having this conversation for the past 3 weeks with multiple organizations, with people, and I've had to check in with myself actually,
Mm,
because I'm like, I am constantly surrounded by this topic. This has become normal to me. This is my
mm,
suicide. Okay, how are we gonna get there? How are we gonna talk about it? What are we gonna do? And when I'm looking at people and I say even like, yes, this project is on suicide risk, the shoulder drops, the faces, the looking around, it's a
mm,
weight. It's something that everybody's like, oh, either I've had experience, I know somebody, or I know somebody who knows somebody.
mm,
So I would say first, being able to be comfortable with sitting with it,
mm.
which takes a lot. It does. I guess in my perspective, I've become a little desensitized, primarily because, like I said, I'm
It's
constantly in
work.
this. This is
It's
this is
work.
work. But I have that empathy and that understanding that a lot of people are affected by this because a lot of people are. We like those stats. We've been going up since 2020. Those stats have been going up since 2020. It's not necessarily the highest thing, but they're going up. And that's
Mm.
the issue.
That's concerning.
So I don't necessarily have advice other than being able to check in with yourself and see where you are
Hmm.
before you try to help someone else, before you try to be there with somebody
Good
else. Because
point.
if you aren't ready for that, then if
Good
anything, you're doing
point.
harm.
Good point. Good point. Good
Mhm.
point. Good point. Now, since you've been also in this mental health field for a minute now, seeing what's going on, had your eyes on things, why would you suggest more Black men consider pursuing mental health as a career option?
Yeah. As a career option, I think we always need more people that look like us out there. For this project, even. This project is even, I would say this, it's to help people that don't look like us under, not even understand, but see this potentially may be what you're dealing with. I'm
Mhm.
not trying to generalize Black suicide. I'm not trying to generalize what Black suicide looks like, especially for Black men. I'm trying to show you that most Black men can transfer something from this. So with a picture or with one of these narratives, kind of being on guard, on point, and understand that, oh, if my client mentioned this, then I could probably see, or probably I should check in even. Back to my experience
Mm.
at school, something's going on campus, I should probably check in with that student that I know may be affected by this. Not necessarily saying they will be, but just saying, hey, I know this happened. How are you doing with that?
Got you.
So with this project, even, it's to help people understand. I'm gonna say understand that this may be a reality, and it is a reality for most people. But having more people that look like us out there, it can make that disconnect a little better. I know with my work, especially, I worked with the domestic violence organization, and we actually did a juvenile group for kids with delinquency, and a lot of those kids appreciated someone that looked like them being in that space.
Hmm.
And I would say I hate that that is the narrative, but it's what we're living with. It's the reality. We have a lot of generational harm. We have a lot of harm now, even that kind of separates us as a people, separates us as a collective in the United States. So helping people and putting more of us out there in this space, I think will do a lot more good than not having as many people. I'll say that. I really, even in my program, I was one of, no, one of two black men in my program. And then the other black man in my program, he was actually in the school cohort. So we didn't even see each other even. So even thinking of that dynamic, for me as a person, as a incoming therapist, it made me feel lonely.
Mm,
Even though I met a lot of people, I met a lot of great people. I know they're gonna be great clinicians, but still, from my perspective, I felt
yeah.
lonely. So for people like me, even not just clients, not just people who are interested in psychology and therapy, for people like me who are actually in it, it's great to have a community within this space. I've met so many wonderful people networking the past 2 months, and they are all great people. But I can count how many Black clinicians are probably in the Greenville area. So, and I could probably list them. I met a great guy. His name is Dr. Asa Briggs. He's done some wonderful work here in Greenville. He's really well connected. But he's also agreed with me. There's not many clinicians out there of color, especially in this area. So back to the breaking the stigma and adding that personal piece, but also just that love. I like to say love. It feels loving to be able to see. Like I would come in, I would see his name was Daniel in the cohort. I'm like, man, like I don't know why, but even though I haven't talked to him much, I'm like, I can just go up to him like, hey, how you doing, man? Like that piece, just like a community. Not saying
Mm,
that I didn't have one, but seeing someone who looks like me, it feels a little different. It does facilitate a lot more love and care, and it's just a
does have
different
an
level.
impact.
Mhm.
Are there many Black professors, male or female, on campus?
Um,
You're thinking too
I'm
long.
trying to, yeah, I'm trying to think if I've had how many I've had because I can definitely count. I think I've had two, a total of two. In all of my years at Clemson, even in my grad program, I think I've had a total of two.
Mm, wow, wow. And people, just to put it in perspective, I mean, you're in the South, and
Mhm.
I just know coming from my own family, uh, historically, mental health has been a challenge getting some of us to get on board with it. So it's just very
Mhm.
nice to hear we're kind of turning that corner now and being more open to it. And like I said, the work that you're doing now will kind of push us there because we have a lot of trauma that we have to heal from. So it's just amazing to see you do your work. So I have one more question for you before I
Okay.
ask you my random question here, sir. How long before I get to call you Dr. Evans?
That's so funny. So many people, I mean, that has become a question that has been thrown at me so many times in this past year, primarily with the work I'm doing. I remember someone was like, are you not in your PhD program already with the work you're doing? I'm like, no. They're like, you're doing PhD work, man. Wait, why aren't you? I'm like, yeah, that hopefully with my plan is to go into the Department of Mental Health. Well, it's called the Office of Mental Health now. I'll actually be starting that Monday with a cool position that's called MDFT, Multidimensional Family Therapy, which involves going in homes and
Mm,
meeting people where they're at, which is really what I want to be as a clinician, being in the community, meeting people where they're at. My plan is to be there and get my full license. Right now, I'm a licensed practitioner counselor associate. I want to become an LPC-A, which is basically a full license. I can do insurance and whatnot. Once
mhm.
that happens, and I'm pretty stable in terms of financials, I want to go and do my PhD program. I don't know where we're at yet. Clemson has called me. I mean, that funny enough, when I was going through my program last fall, I was nominated for a state award. It's the South Carolina Humanitarian Award. It's through South Carolina's Counseling Association. Um, and with that, I went with a professor. He's a really great guy. His name's Craig Cashwell. And that whole car ride, we just talked about an array of things. And PhD came up a couple times, and we talked about
Mhm.
how Clemson was going to have a PhD program pretty soon. And he's like, he wants the best for me. Clemson's program will be phenomenal. It'll be great, but there are also other options out there. So just
Mhm.
look, and anybody who has you is going to be grateful, like
They're gonna be
so. PhD program is definitely in the future. I am ready for that. Like I said, I mean, research is becoming a very prevalent passion of mine. So hopefully, maybe 2027 is when I get to go into a program, or maybe 2028, something like that. I know Clemson's program, they just announced that it'll be starting, I think 2027 or 2028. And this past spring, they announced that they're starting the program pretty soon. So
Oh,
either that or University Greensboro. So
oh, you're gonna come to my part of
mhm.
okay. So how many hours do you have to put in for your license? I know different, it's different from state to
Mhm.
state.
I think it's a little over 1,300. It's like
Okay.
1,380, maybe something like that. 100
Okay.
hours are clinical, 100 hours are supervision, and the other ones are just clinical.
Busy man, supervised hours, you got your research you're doing. Do you sleep?
I do. I do. I will say self-care has been a priority of mine recently. Not even
Mm-hmm.
recently, but in my program, it was heavily pushed. And we were starting out, we're like, self-care. What we don't want to hear all that. We
I'm in
don't want to hear.
college. What do you mean
Yeah, we're
self-care?
self-care. So I've gotten this past semester back in spring. I was at a lovely internship at a private practice, and we got to do these really unique quarterly projects. So I actually incorporated my research project into my self-care. So I do a lot of self-care through photography,
Mm-hmm.
taking pictures and then reflecting on those pictures later on and kind of incorporating things in poetry and writing.
Awesome.
So it's kind of been very intentional, especially going to this job where I'm going to be 9 to 5, 9 to 5, and I'm working with a lot of very low, yeah, the worst, not the worst of the worst, but just people who honestly may have never gotten this care. So it's going to be really
Mm-hmm.
difficult. I will say that it's going to
Mm-hmm.
be really difficult work. So I need to take care of myself so I can take care of them. Back to
That's right.
being able to take care and sit with someone who has that experience of suicide. I need to check care in myself first before I check in with somebody else. So self-care has been a top priority, especially this summer with me going out recruiting, meeting with these organizations. So yeah,
What's the quote? You can't pour from an empty cup, right?
exactly.
So now that you are, an advocate for mental health or whatever, when you go back home to family and stuff, they're like, "Oh God, here comes you. There. You're gonna talk to us about, self care." Do you get a lot of flack from the family?
I actually get met with praise. Yeah, my family is just really proud of me for all my accomplishments.
You should
I,
be.
I lost my grandmother last summer,
Mm.
and unfortunately she didn't get to see me graduate. But
Mm.
before she passed, she had
She saw
pulmonary.
you.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. She had pulmonary fibrosis, and just a lot of the conversations we had before she passed, she was just talking about how proud she was of me. And my great grandmother, who's actually still alive, she just turned 100 this year. Um, yeah, she turned 100 in January, and every time I go home, she's just like so full of joy, and it's always just great to go home. I live in I'm from Chester, South Carolina,
Oh,
very
okay,
small
okay.
town.
Yes,
So
we know Chester.
yeah, very small town. Everybody knows everybody. But even I went to a friend of mine's high school graduation this past May, literally in May or June, something like that, at my Chester High School. And I saw so many of my like people from high school, teachers, they were just all, we see what you've been doing. We're so proud of you. And
Hmm.
so, yeah, even I think that
It's so good
that's,
for us to have
yeah, it's so
support.
good to kind of see people proud of that, but also seeing that I am in the mental health space and people are kind of accepting of that. Because I would say that was a fear of mine, just going back and everybody's like, oh, so mental health, you're going to diagnose me. I'm like, that's not what it's about. It's about helping people.
Hmm.
It's about meeting people where they're at. I do diagnose, but at the same time, people need those diagnoses so they can continue to help themselves and we can help them. So yeah, it's been a lot of praise.
Awesome, awesome. It's so good for us to hear that as a community, we're kind of being more open and receptive
Hmm.
to mental health because it has been such a stigma for us and kind
Hmm.
of kept us in a rut. So it's good. Let me ask you my random question, and then I think I will let you go. I think I don't have any more questions. Let me see. University of Greensboro. I'm gonna have to see who I know. Might be able to, look out for him. Okay. Random question. Do you put your socks on first or your pants?
Hmm. I have never thought about that. I'm saying I think I'm a pants person, if I'm being
Your pants
honest.
on
Yeah, I
first
put
and
my
then your
pants on
socks?
first.
Okay,
It's for the
okay. So then
socks.
you put your socks on and your pants get wrinkled.
That is true.
I'm just saying. I'm just throwing stuff out there. I don't know. All righty, sir. Well, your adopted auntie. I am just so proud. I am so proud of you. I
Thank you,
mean,
Ms. Reed.
you're just doing amazing things. There's so much amazing things for you on the horizon. And not only that, you serve as an example and a representation for others to say, hey, it's possible. Let me get on
Mhm.
somebody's college campus, or even, let me just help somebody in their mental health journey. So,
Mhm.
or to even understand that we need self-care. You're just a light, just a light. So I truly appreciate you. I know your grandmother, she looks down at you every day and said, I am so proud
Mhm.
of him. I'm so proud of him. So just keep on doing what you do. And I will have to see how we can make it down to South Carolina to see this art gallery exhibit that we're gonna have and in all of the future. So just kudos for me. I cannot clap loud enough for you without messing up my mic. So I'm so proud. I'm so proud.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for your time. All right.
Thank you so much.
That is all for this week's episode of The Male Perspective. I'm your host, Lana Reed, and I will see everybody next time.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Black Men Matter series on the Male Perspective. This podcast is an initiative of Conversations in Color, a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to uplifting Black voices. Make sure to check out our website, conversationsincolor.org, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe on your favorite podcast platforms. We'll see you on the next episode.